in the next couple of days, final week of the season. But let's get back into the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs. We go out to the Big Apple. Nate Taylor in New York over the weekend, or New Jersey, I guess, specifically. Nate, our Chiefs insider from ESPN. We appreciate it, man. It looked like you had maybe the family out there as well. Are you back, or have you landed yet?
No, gentlemen. I'm still here in the Big Apple, like you said. I'm actually looking at my family right now. We're at the Walt Disney Studios here in Lower Manhattan, so it's a great day. We fly back home later tonight, so it's been a good trip. My kids have done great.
Out of the, how would you rank this win for the Chiefs, knowing it's a bad opponent who just benched their starting quarterback, but they did win by a comfortable margin at the end, but also had maybe one of the worst quarters of offensive football I've seen them play in 5 years. So where do you kind of rank this win for the Chiefs?
It was a must win. I know the guys didn't say that. They didn't want to sort of lean into that storyline, but it was a must win. So, hey, you won, and I think even the better news is, and Andy Reid told us this yesterday, even though Brad Cook had an injury, like, they came out without any serious injury. You won the game without feeling like you needed Xavier Worthy to be in the lineup, even if it was on a limited basis or, a small snap count for him. So the defense, I know this is not necessarily, the biggest headline, but the defense has made incremental progress through these 3 weeks, and that's a very good sign considering how young they are, especially on the back end, right? You still have Brian Cook, who's your most experienced safety. You have Chamari Connor, who's played really well these last 2 weeks. They actually got turnovers, gentlemen. So, hey, what are you supposed to do against a bad football team? Dominate them. And the Chiefs dominated the Giants basically for 50 of the 60 minutes. And, yeah, we could sprinkle in some of those nonsense, I don't know what's going on with Isaiah Pacheco. I don't think anybody does within the organization. But, hey, you won the game. I know they could have remind me, fellas, they could have potentially scored, as much as 26 points, I guess.
Yeah.
If Harrison Butker had made his extra point and his, whatever it was, 40-yard field goal-ish. But, like, ultimately, it was a must-win. They got the win. And now they get to have this nice little 3-game home stretch where they could actually say, hey, maybe we're, a team that can get better throughout the course of the season. That's really all that matters now. And so getting a win is what's most important. And thankfully they didn't have any major injuries considering what, the turf at MetLife Stadium is, what its reputation is.
Were you surprised when Xavier Worthy didn't even make the trip and was ruled out? I know we talked last week and most people believed he was going to play. Was this, they're just being really cautious? Was it, I don't think they were in the position to, sit a guy out that could have helped them win if they really wanted to, or am I way off on that? Because the Ravens only have 3 plays, I guess, of Xavier Worthy this season to look at. Maybe that's an advantage going into Sunday.
No, it definitely is an advantage. And, yeah, I got the sense that this was all out of extra precaution, right? Could he have played Sunday against the Giants? Yes. I know he was limited in practice all the last week, and hell, that might even be the case these upcoming days. But again, that's all just to sort of protect the player from himself, to give him as much time and as much health rest as he needs. I don't know, because of the shoulder, how much time you need for it to like sort of stabilize and find, your strength again, and how are you going to protect yourself going down. I know some of the turf. Because we just saw it with Tracy, right? I mean, Tracy dislocated his shoulder, and part of that is because there is less give on that potential turf more than anywhere else in the NFL. So MetLife, you could have added that to the equation, but I think the Chiefs also realized too, like, hey, we've just got to win and get right with the guys we have right now, and then we can sort of add, Xavier Worthy into the fold. Obviously, Rashee Rice is a couple weeks away as well. He'll be in the meetings, as early as today, right? As early as today in terms of getting the playbook, understanding where the offense is right now based on what, he saw in training camp and in the preseason. So, yes, he could have played. The indication I got even on Saturday, even though he didn't make the trip, was he's fine. So, hey, if you can borrow an extra 7 days, why wouldn't you? And guys, considering what we just saw last night, if Xavier Worthy gets one little area to blast through and show off his speed, the Ravens are a team that has struggled stopping explosive plays. So having Worthy and Tyquan Thornton on the field together should be a nice combination for Patrick Mahomes.
I want to go back to the wide receivers here in just a minute, but you mentioned Harrison Butker. Financially, there's nothing to be done. Is he hurt?
Right. I saw your tweet on it.
Well, I mean, financially, there's nothing to be done, but like, is he hurt? He was terrible. He was not terrible. He was below average, a below average NFL kicker last year. 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, he was a below average NFL kicker. Over the last 5 years on aggregate, he's a below average NFL kicker if we exclude the postseason. But the 2 years he was the worst, he missed 3 games because he was hurt. And now he seems off again this year and he's dropping to a knee. Is he hurt?
This was the biggest concern when he had surgery towards the middle of last season, because even though he did all the right things, I think from a rehab standpoint, obviously he came back and did very well in the postseason. That's one of the best things about Harrison Butker is, like, you know, can you wake him up when it's January, February, and he won't miss? But because he had to go on down to a knee, and because he had the knee surgery, he's obviously dealt with, you know, some ankle injuries in the past. It's like, okay, well, you can clean up your technique, but what's going to happen when it's actually games, when it actually matters, when there's real juice, there's real consequences, whether this kick is a good or not? And we're starting to see that he's basically, you know, went back to his old form. And again, I don't know if that is sort of due to pain. I don't know if he's trying to manage his accuracy, but like not have as much power, because I think that's what he tried to do in training camp is, hey, how do I get my accuracy to be even more precise? If I have to sacrifice based on me getting older, you know, I might have less power in my legs. So I don't know what's going on, fellas.
Something's wrong.
I mean, these are but the last thing I was going to say is these are makeable kicks, especially for him, especially given his reputation. I want to remind everybody, he's never been an All-Pro, even though his numbers suggest he should have been an All-Pro. He just lived in the era of Justin Tucker. So Justin Tucker's not in the league right now. Like, you're the highest paid kicker. Like, you should be the guy sort of taking that mantle of, hey, when my team needs 3 points, regardless of the situation, I'm going to make it. That's why it was so confounding for him to do a great job on the, you know, emergency drill. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's get it up right before halftime in Sao Paulo. And then his very next kick, he just blows it wide right. And you're like, wait, what's going on? So his accuracy concerns me because that's what he worked on in training camp. And again, I don't know if he's hurt, but we're starting to see a residual effect of what has occurred over the last 2 years, which is why I think it's noticeable to ask that question, given this team needs every single point right now without Xavier Worthy and without Rashee Rice. He just compounds the issue of the offense. And that's one of the reasons why Travis Kelce kind of went crazy over at Andy Reid in the second quarter. It's because, hey, we just got our first turnover of the year. We're on the plus side of the field. We can't move the ball because, you know, the play stink. And, oh, by the way, our kicker is struggling right now. He just missed a kick. So what did we just do for the last 7 minutes? I think that's ultimately my interpretation of what Travis Kelce was getting at Andy Reid. And part of that is because, hey, man, we can't even trust this guy, or this guy, whether he's dealing with an injury or not, this guy's not as reliable as we need him to be, considering how much our offense is sputtering at times.
The sideline blow up, whatever you want to call it, you said it. I think we kind of know maybe what was going on there. I think a lot of people, including myself, we're happy to see Andy Reid kind of, you know, push back a little bit. At the same time, I don't think this is like a huge deal. I will only say Travis Kelce having it happen every single week is kind of, at this point, I think people are kind of done with seeing.
Well, he's the only guy, guys. I just want to make this very clear to the audience. He's the only guy that can do that. He's the only guy. And you know what? Andy Reid does not have a lieutenant worthy of doing that. That, I think, is one of the clear differences. Whenever we get to the discussion, and I thought about this Sunday night, whenever we get to the discussions of, like, is it EV? Is it Nagy? Is it Nagy? Or is it Eric Bieniemy? Well, Eric Bieniemy was a guy who was willing to get up in you-know-who's grill. And most notably, he would always point out Travis, or he would always point out Patrick, and let that sort of filter down to the players. Well, that's not Matt Nagy's style. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's just not. So where can Travis Kelce go to light a fuse to where he thinks, hey, I need to do something psychological? Well, the only guy he can go up to and do that to is Andy Reid. And he's the only player, maybe Patrick, but again, Patrick's more deferential, more reverential to Andy. Because Travis has been there the longest, and because there is no Eric Bieniemy to sort of have a tit-for-tat moment, because believe me, guys, they had several of those, if you remember, he knows, hey, I got to wake this guy up. And I don't know if that was truly necessary at the time, because, again, like, it should have been a 9-0 lead. Hey, Butker misses a kick. It happens. But hey, you're still moving the ball well. But again, my interpretation is, hey, this don't feel good. I don't think these play calls are great. How can I get my guys going? Well, hey, I know who's got 51% of the vote. It's the head coach. You know what? I got to do it again. I'll do it again. I'll get up in his face, and maybe I need to wake him up because it was just 3 weeks earlier where Andy Reid said, hey, I needed to wake my players up. I think partly due to the fact that, oh, no, here we go again with a, freak accident injury between Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy. So it has been a strange season, fellas. Of course, we all know Patrick Mahomes has led the team in rushing. We all know that they sleptwalked through the first half of Sao Paulo and then had an amazing second half. So, hey, give credit to Andy Reid for getting the offense to get back on track. But also, hey, man, this is a must-win game. And for whatever reason, your star tight end is just I don't love this. I don't know what we're doing. What are we doing? What's going on? And so now he pushes Andy. And then, of course, they come out in the second half, and they are an actual professional football team that matriculates the ball down the field for 2 touchdown drives. They could have had a third if Patrick hits Tyquan on that nice flare release, on the short yardage play. It's a weird bunch, guys, but they also know, too, when you don't have the explosion, when you don't have the guy that can get you easy yards or break tackles, it's got to come down to, is the coaching right? Is the scheme right? Are the play calls being sequenced in a way that we know we have an advantage? Well, if Travis Kelce don't feel like that, then who is he going to talk to? The only man he can go talk to is Andy Reid.
Let me just ask you about, I guess, as it relates to the offense, because I'm going to, for just the purposes of giving them the benefit of the doubt, ignore the 4,000 times they said the same thing last year and just take it for the 3 times they have probably said it this year. Patrick and Andy continue to insist that this offense is close, that there are things that are, and again, I'm just going to ignore that they said that a bunch last year and it wasn't. And instead, I'm going to focus on this year. Do you think there are parts of this offense that are close? That there are things that will work, especially once Worthy and Rice come in? Or is this just them saying that and buying time until we can actually see if it works with all the players in play?
I think it's probably the latter would be my guess. One of the funny things about last year is they were expecting so much out of Hollywood Brown, and then, of course, he got injured on literally the first snap of the preseason, right? So he didn't come back till December. And so I thought a lot of what they said last year was, hey, man, we're not going to have at any point in the season, because of the Rashee Rice knee injury, we're not going to have our 3 wide receivers. Well, that's kind of where the offense was entirely built on. And we kind of promised Travis, hey, man, we're not gonna run you into the ground again. Sorry, bud. Hollywood got hurt. Rashee got hurt. Please give us another, lead the team in receptions, lead the team in yards. Hey, stay healthy, obviously, and then, come find us in January, and then we'll put it all together. And actually, that is what happened. The offense did really, really well around Christmas because they got Hollywood back, because Kelce had managed himself through the season, and obviously Xavier Worthy grew so much in his rookie year. Well, now, part of it is okay, the offensive line, I do see improvement. I saw plenty from Kingsley Suamataia to say, okay, this experiment is going. But now, what do you do with Jawaan Taylor? He's the one who's disrupting the offense more than anybody else on the offensive line now. Yeah, there's the one holding penalty from, Josh Simmons, but that's going to happen. He's a rookie. He gets a lot of grace. But he and Kingsley have done really well in terms of run blocking. They did pretty well in the second half when the Chiefs made some adjustments to have a more quicker passing game. I don't know if it's going to reach its full potential because, again, how much longer are you going to give Jawaan Taylor? What's going on with his knee, basically, because there were times where he got beat Sunday night, fellas, where I was just like, hey, man, that doesn't look like you. You're a really good pass blocker. Why are you getting overwhelmed basically at the snap of the football? So, again, will we ever see a snap of Hollywood, Xavier, Rashee?
Still waiting.
I don't know. So, I mean, they don't if the Chiefs cannot run the ball successfully against a Baltimore Ravens defense that cannot stop the run, then I don't know. I don't think they're close. What they have is a really good schematic coach in Andy Reid who can sort of find ways and retinker things and adjust things and have, curve balls and, change ups to the snap counts and everything that way. You have the best quarterback on earth. You still got a really talented tight end who has shown more athleticism. I know he wasn't involved much in Sunday night's game, but hey, that allows Tyquan Thornton to have the best game of his career, right? So it was a pick your poison, and the Giants said, please let Tyquan Thornton beat us, and he did. So,
Right.
I mean, I understand their viewpoints, but I'm not sure I completely trust it because there's just so many things that are weak on the offense right now that, boy, a lot would have to change before the trade deadline. And again, how much are the Chiefs willing to be in the trade market? I don't know, guys, but keep looking at running backs. Keep watching the film because the blocking and the holes are there. It's just the running game and the right tackle play is probably the two biggest things that you should be concerned with in terms of whether or not it's actually going to get fixed.
We're talking to Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider from ESPN. That first drive to open the second half was their best drive of the season. It looked completely different, not just because they had success, but they went under center a little bit. They did some misdirection. You know, Brashard Smith was in the game for a couple of the snaps as well. Do you think that they will look at that and we should just some of those elements they will be willing to go back to? Because that was when they were at their best. It was different than what I think they really want to do, but that was when they were at their best.
Yes, and I'm so glad you mentioned it because Patrick realizes now, I think more so than when the season started, and this tells you how much things change in the NFL based on injuries, based on, hey, what we thought we were good at, looked at the film, not true, guys. What they did in the second half was, okay, we have to be a balanced, spread them out offense that is capable of, again, doing a long drive zero down the field. Hey, we'll get you 5-6 yards out of pop. Hey, here's an occasional 10-yard play. You know, they now understand, again, even with Xavier Worthy, you know, expected to come back and play against the Ravens, this is not a one-man offense anymore. It's not like, hey, I'm the Minnesota Vikings quarterback, and where the hell's 18? That's where every play starts, right? That's not the Chiefs' offense right now. So you have to use Tyquan Thornton. You have to use Brashard Smith. I really love the idea of them just, hey, Nico Remigio, run some jet sweep motions just to get the safeties and the linebackers to look somewhere, right? And maybe we'll give you the ball, maybe we won't. Hey, we gave him the ball, he got 10 yards. Congratulations. We have used you to your best abilities for this one play that helps us get down the field. And, oh, there's Juju Smith-Schuster on a slant. I don't know what they're going to do with Jalen Royals, but, hey, maybe Jalen Royals can be someone who can work within the intermediate area. You still have Tyquan. You still have Xavier over the top. You're going to have to use more screens. I thought that was a sort of an acknowledgement of weakness. Like, hey, we might need to throw a couple screen passes to Kareem Hunt because you know what? He's actually pretty good when you get him out in space, and he can at least, you know, carry some defenders forward for 1 or 2 yards. They have to be a spread offense. They have to be a balanced attack. The more guys touch the ball, that includes Noah Gray, the more unpredictable they'll be, and the more you trust your quarterback to make the right decisions on a down-to-down basis. He has 1 turnover this year, guys, and it ain't even his fault. So they could run this offense for another, again, 3 or 4 weeks before, hey, if Rashee Rice gets back to his top form, if he's coming off the suspension well, okay, maybe he's the focal point of the offense. But until then, they need to spread it out, trust everybody to do their job, and that will actually hold everybody more accountable because you need to rely on all 11 guys to move the ball down the field, regardless of the opponent.
Last thing from me, Nate, percentage chance that Jawaan Taylor is not the starting right tackle come Sunday? I mean, I'm saying Sunday. Let's just say this Sunday and then halfway through the season. Because at some point, for a team that claims accountability, I don't know how the most penalized player in the NFL who is actively costing you drives can continue to start at right tackle.
And not only is he the most penalized offensive lineman, I know people were making fun that NBC has a graphic for him.
Oh, I know, man. They had it ready to go. He's also not.
They had that thing. I said, my God.
For what it's worth, Nate, he's not blocking well either. It's not even like the previous where like he was playing well.
Yeah, that's my point. He did not. Sunday was a bad game for him, blocking wise, regardless of the penalties. And so, again, he had his knee scoped. He had a little procedure. You know, they always call him minor. They're not minor kids. He had a procedure in the offseason. He had to get his knee drained. But last year was a different circumstance because they had no one else. You know, it was like, hey, can Wanye do it? Well, I'm sorry, Wanye's playing left tackle now because Kingsley can't play left tackle. You paid this guy in free agency. I still think Andy, I know people don't want to hear this, I still think Andy wants to see one more game. I always say, guys, and you know this, give me 4 weeks. I know it's so hard. Give me 4 weeks of a season. 4 weeks is a decent enough sample size before you might actually want to start making changes, or what teams do, you know, post a bye week when it's like, okay, we have 6 or 7 games on tape. we actually know for sure now, based on the 6 and 7 opponents we've seen, we not good at this. So, hey, the Ravens didn't get a sack last night, fellas. Didn't get a sack. Didn't sack Jared Goff, who cannot move. So, I know fans are like, I want to see Jalen more. I think Andy probably gives them another week, or it might be a situation like what teams do with the quarterback often is, hey, give us the bye week. I know that's a little farther away than now, but they paid a lot of money for Jalen Moore. I know, but if they made the change, I would be surprised because I just know traditionally how Andy has sort of operated with these things.
But I've watched him, Nate. Like we were talking about LaShawn McCoy earlier with fumbling problems. Like I've watched him put players on the bench eventually who are actively costing them games. I'm not sure why Jawaan has been more immune to it than others. And again, last year, to your point, what choice did they have, right? There was
no choice.
There was no option but to stick with Jawaan Taylor. So he got way more than a normal amount of games, I would say, for a guy struggling as much as he was. This year, it's like you invested in it. I think Simmons, especially in isolation, has been excellent. I think Kingsley's been better than I was anticipating. So, like, Jawan's the odd man out. That's all.
Yeah, Kingsley has the tools, and we are now realizing that. It's just something that, like, Trey Smith went through in his first year. Obviously, Trey Smith was an All-American. But, like, you have the tools. You have the athleticism. Now it's about technique, consistency on a down-and-out basis. As you get more defensive fronts, as you see more defensive linemen, right? Josh Simmons, you couldn't have asked for a better starter from a rookie left tackle coming off a knee injury, right? That ended his college career, so he's played excellent. Here we go with Jawaan. Okay, Jawaan, well, when you do start on time, or when the refs let you get one or two, you're pretty good at just, stabilizing the right side. That allows Mahomes to scramble, maneuver within the pocket, maybe extend plays. Well, there were plays where he couldn't get to his drop on Sunday because Jawaan got beat faster than we've really ever seen him in a Chiefs uniform. So, again, I don't know if that's injury-related. I don't know if that's to deal with the same knee injury he had last year or if it's just one bad performance on top of, penalties that this offense cannot overcome. The issue I have is he is a veteran. He's done it before. Yeah. It's just 3 games. I just want to remind people, it's just 3 games. And what decision you make in terms of moving him away doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go back to that player in, like, November. So if you make this change, you're making it for the rest of the season. And I think that's something that people have to understand. It's like the coaching staff knows what it looks like at practice. They watch the practice. They watch the film. Jalen Moore, as I like to remind people, has never played right tackle in the NFL on a regular basis. He always was the backup left tackle to Trent Williams. So that would be a new sort of role, a new situation for him, even though we all know he's talented and capable and got all of the training camp and preseason reps he could in case of such a scenario. But if you make this change now, it's not like you can go back to Jawaan Taylor and say, oh, by the way, we're playing the Bills now. You ready to get back in there? I don't know if that's a decision that they can make to where you want to be flip-floppy or you want to be sort of even more inconsistent when an offensive line needs to gel over the course of the season.
Nate, safe travels back, man, from the Big Apple. We'll see you in studio next week. I'll see you out on Arrowhead on Sunday.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it, guys.
There you go. Good stuff from Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider from ESPN. I'm with everybody. I'm with all of you on the Jawaan Taylor thing. I do think the last part he mentioned is also something we do have to consider, which is we're all just assuming Jalen Moore is going to be good at right tackle.
To find out.
I understand, but to Nate's point, if you bench Jawaan Taylor, it's not just a one-game thing. It becomes, no, that's the guy we think is good enough for the rest of the year. And that's also part of the equation here is rough as it's been for Jawaan Taylor, are they 100% convinced Jalen Moore is better at right tackle right now? By the way, I hope he is for this year, but also because next year, Jalen Moore is going to be the right tackle for this football team. So we'll see. It's funny. The month thing is kind of what we had talked about as well.
It just felt like he's played himself. He didn't deserve the 4th week.
I think there's
I get your point.
5% chance it's not Jawaan Taylor at right tackle on
The
Sunday.
Scary thing, though, is that if Jalen Moore also is not very good, did they need to draft a tackle again in the first round?
That would be the reality if that was the case, for sure. All right, up next, earlier today, the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, J.J. Piccolo, joined us. We asked him point blank about Salvador Perez's future in Kansas City. You want to hear what he had to say? Next.
This is Cody and Gold. Tune in for Nate Taylor every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Cody and Gold are brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Fall's the best time of year to clean up the outside of your home or business, and the best way to do that is with a fresh coat of paint from my friends at CertaPro Painters. You want your home or business to make a great impression, and that starts with the exterior. And when you choose CertaPro Painters, you're choosing the best in the business for your job. CertaPro Painters go the extra mile. If there's a way to save you money, they'll let you know, and they take care of every detail from start to cleanup. So do what we did and schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently